Calling the meeting to order. Attendance, please.
Supervisor Holdridge,
Here.
Councilmember Becker,
Here.
Councilmember Portney,
Here.
Councilmember Dysinger,
Here.
Councilmember Ardisana is absent.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Supervisor, if you don't mind, if we can stay for a minute for our Holy
We're
Father.
going to stay standing for the Pope. Moment of silence for Pope Francis. Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Is there any public comment tonight? Step right up.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Speak a little closer, I think, for the rest of the public at home.
Can I get closer? I'm short.
Oh, thank you, Matt.
Beautiful.
That's okay. How's that? Is that better?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Much better.
All right. I just had a quick announcement. Just as your neighborhood tree hugger, Arbor Day is coming up. And much like Earth Day, it's a national holiday to celebrate nature, but specifically dedicated to recognizing the importance of trees, celebrate planting, upkeep, and preservation. There's a lot I could say about that, but I'm going to try to keep it brief. I went to the regional DEC office to pick up free promotional material, and they gave me a handful of posters and postcards, and this poster is really nice. It's this year's photo contest winner, and on the back it has all sorts of planting tips. I'm going to give them the handful to the town's Conservation Advisory Council to have on hand at their Repair Cafe, which I'll plug is this Saturday at the Senior Center from 10 to 2. Free for residents to stop in. Members of the council will be on hand to answer anyone's concerns, questions, or their interest in getting involved in upcoming projects. I just wanted to mention New York State has a goal of planting 25 million trees by 2033, and they created a tree tracker database for everything planted from January 2024 going forward. Anyone can participate. It doesn't have to be just a municipality, but I did want to include the tree the town planted last year and dedicated and for Arbor Day. And I was also going to mention this to the Sugarloaf Community Foundation because they are in the process of doing a tree planting campaign right now for Arbor Day. And I'll get info to the town clerk for anybody who's interested. Bottom line, Arbor Day is about maintaining trees that we have, planting new trees, but it's got to be the right tree in the right place. So everyone has to do a little bit of research. Talk to your local nursery about native trees, planting tips, and call 811 if you live near where you're going to have underground pipes and wires, because they'll help you locate before you dig. So that's it, just a real brief overview. So happy Arbor Day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Is there any other for public comment in person tonight?
I just wanted to echo what Tracy said regarding the Repair Cafe and wanted to remind everybody that it is this Saturday at the Senior Center. And if you have any tools to be sharpened or pants to be shortened, if your child's ear fell off its toy, we have people that glue, we have people that do computer work, others that do electrical repairs, including vacuum cleaners, toasters, you name it. And I just wanted to thank the board for letting us have it at the Senior Center. We did it last November. We had almost 100 people who came. It is a free event, so there is no charge. These are your neighbors. We have 16 talented people who will fix things for you for free. Just a reminder, though, it will be 2 items only, and we do not take any gas-powered tools. Thank you. And thank you also to Linda Zapala and to Michelle for helping us with our printed material and also for getting us ready at the Senior Center. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Are there any other public comment in person tonight? Anything online? All right, then we will move forward. Is there a resolution, are there any comments or debate points on the minutes from April 9th?
No.
Seeing none, is there a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Does anybody have any reports tonight?
Yes.
Do we want to start with you, Larry?
Sure. First thing is on tree preservation local law. I've only gotten a comment back from Brandon, Brandon. I haven't gotten it back from anybody else, so I would appreciate whatever comments, take a look at it, whatever comments you may have. I know that, Liz mentioned maybe we'll incorporate this into the comprehensive plan, but, I think, I'd just like to get this resolved, with any input, that's appropriate. So if you would, get back to me, I'd appreciate
Yeah, I
it.
did look through it. It looked good, Larry. I didn't think
Okay.
it was that long either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see you. I can hear and see you.
Also, right now, we still have 2 open positions on the planning board. At the next meeting in May, 1st of May, I think it's the 7th, they'll be interviewing other people, and hopefully we can finalize and fill up the planning board. So hopefully that will take place. That's all I have for regular reports.
Okay, I'll take off from there.
Yes, sorry.
No problem. Our engineer has received shop drawings for the Lake Estates control panel and the pump skid, and he is reviewing them to make sure they are what we will need to take care of the problems down there. I think the health department wants to see them also, so once that gets situated, I'll bring it to the board for approval, and most of the cost of this will come out of the grant from James Scofus that we received a few years ago for $130,000. The only cost that would go to the district are going to be the installation of the items. The Chester Cemetery Board will be doing a sponsor a flag fundraiser again for Memorial Day. Betty Ann has given a flyer to Linda, and she'll be posting that on our website for people to get contact information to make purchases, to do the sponsorship. I also attended the village board meeting last week, and they had adopted a budget that was below the tax cap. And I think that kind of puts the pressure on us. We need to follow suit and be below the tax cap here at the town this year. And we're going to work very hard to make that happen. And I'd also like to say thank you to the Conservation Committee for the great day they put out there on that snowy day, collecting refrigerant products. Kind of surprising that they still had it, but they did a great job. And according to Tracy, they got almost the same amount of material as they did last year.
It's great.
Great. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Yeah, Larry, was there 1 or 2 more positions open on the planning board?
2.
2. Okay, thank you. Bob?
Just a couple things. I've gotten one. I reached out for advertising and promoting of our theater. We kind of came up at the last meeting about what we need to do to try to move forward. So I do have one quote already. I'm having a meeting, and I think you're on the Zoom meeting on Monday, Supervisor, with the other individual.
George.
Yes.
Yes.
So hopefully we'll have something. I'll have something to present to the board the next meeting. Also, too, Lankin Tully's almost finished up. I had asked them back in January, February to give us a master plan on our infrastructure. We know we need work on our infrastructure. There's no question there. What the scope of the work is going to be in a prioritized list. Once I have that in hand, I do plan on sending it on to all our elected officials, state and federal, to see what they can do to help us out with funds. So hopefully there'll be some good news in the coming months. And then I think you and I still have to we're shoring up a date to go up to Albany for Lobby Day. So I know we've been tossing that around. So hopefully we get that shored up in the next couple of weeks.
Yep.
And then other than that, that's all I have.
All right, great. To piggyback off of what Tom said, just some preliminary numbers. I think we're going to get a full report from them soon. But for the Conservation Advisory Council, who held the coolest recycling drive, we had a total of 49 pounds. I'm sorry, no, 49 items that we collected, which came out to 54,792 pounds of CO2 that were preserved in terms of, and then that comes out with 25 metric tons in terms of the CO2 that we were able to save from not being recycled. So I think that's a really big deal. Again, they're making a difference. So thank you to the Conservation Advisory Council for putting that on, as well as the upcoming Repair Cafe. Besides that, Jewish Family Services came out with their latest report here. So in March of 2025, for the Chester Senior Independence Program, run through Jewish Family Services, number of neighbors assisted this month were 3. Total number of volunteers assisting the neighbors was 4. Total number of services provided by the volunteers was 54, which was a lot more than the 19 we've had in the 2 previous months. Total number of hours was 53.50. Value of volunteer time, which is based off of a $33.49 an hour, is $1,792.91. Number of new enrolls for the volunteers is 1, and that's about it. So really big increase this year. It seems as though this month, it seems as though the program is growing, which is good. So it's what we like to see. Thank you to all the volunteers that go out and spend their time helping our seniors here in Chester. The Ethics Board came out with a report. They held, this is for 2024. They held multiple meetings throughout January, February, and then a couple more in August, September, and October. They have not met yet. They haven't had a reason to meet yet in 2025, but we're going to be appointing some members to it. I think at the next meeting we have 2 more people that we need to interview. So we're going to set that up shortly. But besides
On that, Brandon, on that point, on the report, what was missing on the report is the number of complaints received or number of complaints resolved, that sort of thing. I think we need to have that type of information so we know. So, if you could get back to the chairman on that, to have him include that would be appreciated.
Okay. Okay. All right, that's noted, Councilman Dyson.
Okay.
I'll reach out to the chairman and ask him for that information.
All right.
I just want to make sure
Yep, thank
that we
you.
were able to get that information.
Thank you.
As I'm sure many have seen on social media lately, we are holding a joint open house with the Village of Chester and the Department of Transportation on May 6th. That's May 6th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Chester Senior Center for the plan from the DOT to convert Route 17 into Interstate I-86. So that is going to be a pretty big meeting. They have plans to close down exit 127. They have plans to significantly improve exits 126 and 128. And because of the meetings that we held with them, we were able to convince them to commit to significant improvements as well to the no, I'm forgetting the word. The intersection at 17M, Kings Highway, and Lehigh Avenue. That intersection where you can go right towards Monroe, left towards the Village, straight towards Lehigh, and backwards towards Kings Highway, Town Hall, and all that. So they plan to do a peanut-shaped traffic circle there. So I realize that many might not be happy with the plans to close exit 127. This town board passed a resolution against that, trying to tell them that that's not what the community would want. I also went around to the town of Warwick, the village of Warwick, the village of Florida, and the village of Chester, who all passed similar or same resolutions. So I got them to do that. And so the DOT heard us, and that's what led to the meetings that we had. They were very steady on closing exit 127. It doesn't seem like anything that we do will convince them otherwise. That does not mean that if there's enough public outcry, anything can be possible. So I urge everybody who feels strongly about it to either come out on May 6th to look at the DOT plans, treat them respectfully, but also let them know your opinions about them. And then if you can't make it, if you just look at the flyer we have, there's a way that you can submit plans, submit your opinions about the plans ahead of time, via email or something similar to that. So make sure you guys try to make your voices heard if you feel strongly about this. We tried to make our voices heard. We got meetings with them, and we got some commitments from them, which I think they did in good faith try to work with us on it. But ultimately, they are very strong-willed on the closings of the closing of exit 127.
Brandon, excuse me, has the DOT provided any volume statistics on
Yes.
each of the?
And they plan to show that at the open house.
Okay.
Yeah. But they showed the deputy supervisor and I, they did a whole study, and they didn't just do it on one day. They did it, Monday through Thursday, Friday traffic, Saturday and Sunday traffic.
Okay.
So they show all those details, and they're confident that the improvements that they will make to exit 126 should make up for the closing of exit 127. I'm still skeptical, but it seems as though they are going to do this. So
Yes, I think part of the problem though is they're improving that interchange, but then it's going to put a lot more traffic on Brookside Avenue
yes,
through the industrial park, and I don't know. I doubt they're going to address that at all.
yeah.
It's all being
They talked about making additional improvements to Brookside, and then also actually Main Street in the village.
Okay.
Consideration.
But no commitments. The only things
Right.
they committed to were the improvements to exit 126, the improvements to the, and why can't I think of the word? The intersection. Thank you. At 17M and Kings Highway, and then they also committed to making those improvements before they close exit 127. So they're not going to close exit 127 and then take 3 years to make the improvements. They're going to do the improvements first and then close exit 127. So
I think we have to make sure they do that, because once this starts, just because it's going to happen, traffic's going to be forced off 17 onto 17M.
Yeah.
You got the summer traffic coming up from the city. They have to do those improvements first, or it's just going to be a nightmare. For the next few
they
years.
committed to doing those.
Okay.
So, that's good. At the very least, it's good that way. All right. And then besides that, that's about it for me. Yeah. Happy Passover and Easter, belated to everybody who celebrated. Let's move on from there. So, summary of bills. The town paid, paid $439,068.53 in the April 22nd abstract. Is there a motion to open the public hearing on local law 485B?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are now open to, the public hearing is now open. So just to remind the public, the 485B is a local law that allows us to opt out of this exemption that private businesses take advantage of. It's kind of like a pilot, to put it in layman's terms. It gives them a tax advantage, and it's kind of been overused in previous years. So Senator Skoufis passed a law up in Albany that allows us to opt out, and he's been very heavy on notifying us, notifying all the municipalities in Orange County of our ability to opt out. So the town board is in agreement that it's a good direction to move in. So no one
These are the things that the IDA used to give
Right.
tax breaks on.
Right.
similar.
Perfect
Yeah.
example is CNS, the exemption from paying taxes for the addition when they were going to do it anyway.
Yes.
That's a perfect example of the abuse.
And
Also
just to put it in
scams.
terms for the public to understand, it's money that we are missing out on. That's basically what we're doing here. Is what we're making sure that we're not missing out on funds that should be, flooding into our budget. So, we don't have to tax you more. We should be getting more revenue from these businesses, from tax revenue from these businesses.
Does this include the village too, or just the town? Would the village have to opt out on their own?
Yes.
So that's something you have to bring to them. Because
Yeah.
it wouldn't affect most of the business in the town. Most of it is in the village industrial town.
Well, it's about new businesses, so it's everything that's here most likely.
But there's still stuff up and coming in the village also.
No. I'm saying that you're right. You're right. But I'm just clarifying.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, we should definitely reach out to them and send this to them so they can do this as well.
So any comments?
All right. Are there any comments from the public? Yes, Richard.
I'm Richard Logan from Sugarloaf, and I find this confusing that you want to opt out of this advantage.
No. So
You want to opt out of people being able to take advantage.
the businesses to take.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I run business. At one point, I ran 3 businesses in Chester. In coming up here in 1981, I used an existing building to but continue my business. In 1990, my business grew from 8 people needing more space. I built a building on the other side of Sugarloaf and started, but this was going from 4,800 square feet to 12,000 square feet or whatever it was at the time. And when I learned that there was a potential of saving on some taxes, it helped me make the decision to do that. Now my business has doubled in size. I have 35 well-paying factory and administrative jobs where people who work there can live in Chester and afford housing. And we live in communities around here. The 35 people are well paid. I know that when I moved up here, I was enticed by, I think it was South or North Carolina. They were looking at giving me all kinds of incentives to come up here, to go down there. I didn't want to go down there. My business was in New York and I wanted to stay nearby. But it helped a lot that I could, for 5 years, pay less taxes. Now, we just finished a document, or it's not completely approved yet. Larry was on the board, I was on the board, others. And part of that is business development. Not encouraging warehouses, but encouraging good factory, good office jobs. The people that want to do that look for incentives. Why should they go to Chester? Or why should they go to Monroe? Or why should they come here at all? You need incentives. And you're saying you're losing money. You're not losing money. It takes money to earn money. And what you're doing is investing in future business, and it hurts you a little bit for 5 years. That's the cost of bringing in a business that's going to bring a lot of money in the town in the future. I pay a lot of school taxes. My business does not use anything with the school, yet they benefit from a large amount of money. Now, another business I built, which you're very familiar with, is a theater. The fact is that my taxes on that theater are far higher than your mortgages. I had to pay that. And that wasn't going to something that was going to last for 5 years. That was going to last forever. You charge tax every year. But the fact that I was able to not pay as much taxes for the first few years helped the business establish itself. And for 20 years, I operated that theater where tens of thousands of people came through. The restaurants benefited, the gas stations, the diners. Everybody benefited from that theater being there. Now, if you look at it another way, you are now landlords of that building. You pay a mortgage. That mortgage is a lot less than my taxes were. But somebody said, whoever it is that you have your mortgage through, said, look, for the first year, we'll forgive half of that mortgage. Next year, maybe we'll forgive 40%. Gee, wouldn't that have been nice? But nobody did that, except this town is now wanting to take that away from businesses. And the job that you're here to do is to entice business, not to knock it down. And I strongly suggest you not pass this. Now, some people may abuse it. I don't know how you abuse it.
See, Richard, if I can, the problem was that we had no say in the
Process.
in the process. It's decided by the IDA. We had no say in it at all,
Okay,
and that's the problem.
all right, but let's look at it from a different perspective. There's a vacant piece of property. You're earning money on that property, minimal money. Now, somebody builds a building. You now make more money on that piece of property, but it didn't cost anything to earn more money. The next year, you earn more money. And forever, you're going to use more money. So you may not have control of it. If what you want to have is control, is that really that important? Is bringing money and good jobs into Chester the primary thing, not the factors, well, we can't control it. You're making more money.
What happens
Is so-
also, I'll give an example in the village for Steris.
Yeah.
They went from one side of the road with a building to the other side. They
Yeah.
were going to do the project already before the planning board. The IDA got involved. The project was going anyway.
Right.
They got them the tax breaks. Not that it didn't benefit the company, but they weren't looking for the tax breaks. They were just going to build the building anyway because their profitability was so great.
Yeah.
So
Did you make more money after the building was built or before the money was built, regardless of the percentage?
I think you're missing the point is that the building was going to be built either way.
Yeah.
we
So
wouldn't have
we-
it anyway
the-
without the
They
IDA.
had a
Chester
business here.
taxpayers
They
lost
had a
out on
business
tax
here.
revenue.
It behooved them to build another building.
But
But somebody coming into the community, well, those people are giving you these incentives, and those people, you're competitive.
Yeah.
There's other people giving incentives. Yeah, somebody might consider that's an abuse, okay? Well, we would have made it anyway. But if they came in cold, not building a building, and knowing that you weren't giving them any incentives,
it might not be.
they may not be here, and then you'd have nothing.
And the IDA, the problem with the IDA too is the place they get their funding from to operate is by those savings, even though they're getting reduction in taxes, but that reduction, the part of that reduction goes to them from that company.
Mhm.
So the bottom line,
So that's,
the bottom line at the end of the day, does Chester make more money with the building there or not with the building there?
Thank you, Richard.
I do want to just clarify for the board that 485B is the provision in the real property tax law. It is not, the provision is not related to the IDA's authority to give a pilot agreement that we often see. So
So
this
that's
is separate, this is separate. I
That's a
just want
separate-
it, because,
so that's
It is
something that's still
similar-
available.
so yes, a pilot is still available.
And-
So just to be clear, the existing exemption that you're seeking to opt out of, which you may do by local law, is the business investment exemption. And it is essentially to the addition, and additions to commercial buildings. Now, should you adopt the local law, whether it be tonight or another night, that local law will not affect any existing people that have
Right.
the tax exemption.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
will only affect people moving forward.
Right.
So the point of all this really is that there are a multitude of exemptions and incentives that businesses can take advantage of, IDA or not. This one we have control over because we can opt out of it. And just to cite some statistics that the senator shared with us, Orange County in the past 5 years alone, because of 485B, lost out on $240 million in tax revenue because of this incentive that businesses may or may not need and will come and will not come regardless of this tax incentive. So and along with this, they can apply for this exemption without having to commit to using any local labor to build their businesses. So this is something that we have direct control over. We can control our destiny on this. This is tax revenue that would have otherwise gone to Chester residents if not for this exemption. So I understand what you're saying, Richard, but I still am in favor of doing away with this based on the multitude of incentives and exemptions that businesses in Orange County have historically taken advantage of and will continue to.
Liz, I guess this is a huge question. So if we were to not opt out, so the new business come in to get those tax incentives,
Correct.
could they also go to the IDA for those same incentives?
I believe they can. The IDA, of course, will take into account
Or
this
So there is-
as essentially,
so there is
The
a potential,
application
there is a
should be-
potential of double dip then?
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. That's the point of this, and that's what was also pointed out to us. The IDA has, in my opinion, been caught giving out these incentives, left and right without any proof of it being necessary. In fact, there was one application where the IDA was told by the company themselves that, yes, we are going to come here regardless of whether or not we're going to get this incentive. So I know that's separate and apart from this type of incentive, but that just goes to show what happens in terms of all these dealings, in terms of all these exemptions and such. So I don't think that this is necessary for us to have. I think this is money that's being lost for Chester residents. And I'd like to do away with this exemption.
you can also, if after a period of time, the board determines that it has had an adverse impact. It's one of those things that can be undone via subsequent local law. So you can always
It's
opt out of
reversible.
your opt out.
You can
Right.
reverse it.
Yeah, you can cancel your opt out.
Are there any other comments tonight? Yes, Dylan.
Dylan Skriloff. Is the business investment exemption specifically doled out by the IDA?
No,
No, this is separate and apart, like we said.
this reduces the assessment valuation on the portion of the assessment that is attributable to the addition on a property.
And is it a permanent or is it a 5-year?
It's actually in 10 years.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments tonight? Yes.
Susan Ligothetis from Sugarloaf, New York. I just need to make something clear because I cannot, after hearing it at least 3 times now, understand exactly what you're trying to say. If there's an acre of land with nothing on it, but somebody owns it, so you're getting unimproved property taxes on it, am I right?
Yep.
Thank you. Now, somebody wants to put a business on it. And when that business is there are going to be taxes. But he doesn't know if he wants to go here or to the next town, or he wants a general area. So he gets this incentive, 50% off for what, 5 years?
10
Does it-
years.
What?
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
maybe you can adjust that amount. But the point is, for a certain amount of time. So he goes ahead, he builds his business, and you get 50% of those taxes for 10 years. So that's a whole lot more than you were getting before he came, and a whole lot more than you were getting or ever going to get if he goes to another town. And then at the end of the 10 years, and you can budget it because you can see it coming, he's going to get that other 50% added on, and you're going to get a whole lot of money. I don't understand how you can keep saying we are losing money. It's kind of like, I lost that girl. Oh, I never told her I loved her, but I lost her. You don't lose anything. You're just not getting as much as you'd like. And that's not a problem if you will call it that. So I think that either you need to explain it better, or maybe have a sliding scale for that 5 to 10 years, depending on what the business is and how much the tax rate is going to be, or just, call a spade a spade. Chester is not exactly falling over with people trying to move in here. Now, you gave an example of, I can't remember the name of the company already, that built across the street.
Stairs.
Steris. They built across the street. Okay, they were going to build anyway. Are you still not getting more money with the tax break than you would without it? And not without it, but without their building. And can you not say that in X amount of years, whoa, our budget's going to go up? You got to get them here before you can keep them here. I
Yes.
don't know politics. I cannot read the legalese in this stuff that you print out. But that just seems like down-home common sense. You can't spend what you don't have, you know that. But you can't say you don't have what you never had in the first place. So is a vacant piece of land worth the price of saying, I'm not going to give you an incentive to come here? I think that has to be considered. I don't know that it will be considered, but at least I've had my say. Thank you.
Well, I understand what you're saying. So the point is that you can. All right. The point is that that these companies, in terms of this specific tax exemption, we feel as though it is unbalanced and unfair and unnecessary in order to draw companies in. In fact, I just was I received information from the town assessor that this specific exemption, the 485B, has only been used once in the last 13 years by companies, whereas they continuously get IDA tax exemptions
Okay.
that come into the
That-
town. So it's not necessary to have this.
Back to the, I don't get all this legalese stuff. What's the IDA? Maybe somebody at home doesn't know either.
The Industrial Development Agency. It's a
Thank you.
Orange County wide entity that decides on exactly what it says. They try to help them out with in terms of companies and businesses coming to Orange County by giving them incentives and exemptions to do so.
So if it's only been used once, why is it so important to get rid of it?
In case somebody uses it in the future when it's unnecessary to use it.
Another downside of the IDA, from my standpoint, when you get what they have, the super enhanced thing that gives them tax breaks for up to 20 years. So you have a business comes in, business is good for quite a while, they're getting relief on taxes, then all of a sudden business ain't maybe not as good. So, and they get this incentive somewhere else, they could just continue to pick up. We have two huge buildings in the industrial park right now, the Hamscan building and the Pep Boys building,
Yep.
huge buildings, had the super enhanced. Now it's been the 20 years that they've been there, can't afford the taxes, so now they've closed down. Now the businesses are going to look for tax breaks on that property that they've already just started paying full taxes. Now, oh, we're out of business, so now we need a tax break because we don't have the value there anymore.
So this
that's
is
what
not,
comes-
this
that's
is
what, like,
not,
circles
this
around
is not
against
on
us.
building buildings. It's just moving your business.
If they want to move their business, once you've lost the
Well, no.
exemption, it's profitable for you to move to another
The
building somewhere
exemption-
else and get the incentive again.
The exemption on the Amscam building, you just said is done. It's paid up. They've done.
Same thing with Pep Boys.
What?
Same thing with Pep Boys. That's empty now.
Well, so is Amscam going to be
Yes,
apparently.
it is.
Why would a new business moving up into that building get that exemption if it's already, that building has already done its
Well,
thing?
you're trying to promote new businesses here again, so you're going to give them an exemption again. You just got the full taxes, and now they're going to come back in and get an exemption, potentially. I don't know, maybe.
I don't know, it
I'm
seems
sure
lucky to me they
it's
don't
the
have to
same
build a
thing.
building.
That's unrelated to what we're talking
But
I know
anyway,
it's not related,
I
but-
made my point that, the obscurity, the roundabout language, the inability to understand even things that are printed out in proper English is a problem. And I still say that you're not losing anything. You're just not gaining as much. It's a real big difference.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Are there any other comments tonight? Is there anything? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just have one thing, if everybody could speak more to their microphones, please, share yours with Liz.
Will do.
May I ask a question, Liz, for clarification?
Yes.
With regard to this law, this opt-out, it pertains to the addition to a property? Is that correct? Or is it an improvement to, let's say, vacant land?
It could be either. So
Okay.
it could be in addition, I believe, I have the state law open on my computer. I believe it has to be a minimum of $10,000 improvement. You're not getting this for like a small improvement. There's a minimum improvement, whether that's new construction or in addition to
Okay.
existing structure.
Now, if I remember too, and just going back
Thank
to the
you.
IDA, wasn't it Medline that
This law
got the exemption,
Yeah.
wound up, the exemption was over?
This doesn't
Whatever
affect the
municipality
IDA.
it was Middletown and Walkville, and then they moved to Montgomery, and they re-upped that
Right.
exemption again.
I couldn't
That's her.
speak to the specifics of that particular. I can't speak to the specifics of that application. Now, the IDA does not have governance over that. This obviously,
There's an R, but I'm just, it's
Yes.
just an example of.
and the IDA does have to take into consideration this, but other exemptions when that happens. But it is, again, it's a business decision for the board.
All right. Are there any debate points or comments on this from the town board members?
Are there any public comments online?
There are. Michelle said no.
Motion to close.
Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make the motion.
motion.
Is
I'll
there a
second. I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there a motion to adopt the local law tonight? Well, besides
Would you like me to read my lovely resolution that I typed up?
when we make the motion first.
No, because you're going to vote on what I read. Do you wish me to read the
Yes.
resolution?
Yeah.
Whereas the Town of Chester Town Board desires to amend the real property tax law, section 485B, reducing the percentum of exemption otherwise allowed by that section from 50% to 0. And whereas chapter 87 entitled Taxation is hereby amended by adding article 9 entitled Business Exemption Reduction shall read as follows. The percentum of the exemption allowed by real property tax law 485B2AI, in which real property constructed, altered, installed, or improved subsequent to July 1, 1976 for purposes of commercial, business, or industrial activities is granted an exemption from taxation and special ad valorem levies to the extent of 50% of an increase in assessed value thereof attributable to such construction, alteration, installation, or improvement is hereby reduced from 50% to 0. And whereas the town board introduced introductory local law 4 of 2005 on March 26, 2025, and whereas the town board determined that said local law was not an action subject to seeker, and whereas a duly noticed public hearing was held on April 23, 2025, and now therefore be it resolved that after hearing and considering the public comment, the town board hereby adopts introductory local law 4 of 2025 as local law 6 of 2025. Be it further resolved that the town clerk shall cause said local law to be filed with the Secretary of State.
Are there any debate points or comments on this?
Just one comment. Do we feel that this has not been used because people didn't know about it? Or the procedure they have to go through to use it is cumbersome where that we wouldn't use it? I'm just trying to
I
figure
think
out, if something was available to somebody, why wasn't it used more?
my gut reaction is that they're going to the IDA first.
So the IDA, if it's one or the other,
You start there, and
yeah, you start with the IDA, and if you get the IDA, you don't
yeah,
get this?
and that's
or-
supposition on my part, but that you're going to the IDA first.
Because you're going to get a better deal from the IDA.
If you're going to go through the efforts of trying to get tax breaks, you're going to go to the IDA first.
So Liz, I have a question for you. If we opt out on this,
Mhm.
does that have any bearing on IDA, what they do?
It's just one less thing that could be considered in there.
Okay.
So they couldn't get this on top of IDA.
Well, they can.
It has to be stacked and that it would be reduced, so.
So they get,
There is-
there's so much
there
would
is
go
some
from the
provision,
IDA,
yeah.
so much would come from this. But ultimately, it's from the taxpayer that it, or it's the amount of money that we get from them is reduced to the town no matter
And
how it
remember-
happens.
I just want the board to remember, and sometimes this gets lost. The taxes are, if you think of the taxes, it's a tube of toothpaste, right? No matter where you squeeze it, the same amount of toothpaste is going to be in that tube.
Yep.
And what you're doing is you're adjusting the assessed value. So that business will be paying a greater percentage of that assessed value versus other taxpayers. Because again, at the end of the day, I'm just making up a random number for purposes of discussion. You have a $10 million budget, right? And in a given year, total $10 million budget. That tube of toothpaste is going to be $10 million, no matter what the assessment is of that building. If you were to enact this opt-out, future construction projects, instead of having that 50% assessment reduction, not tax reduction, but assessment reduction, means you've reallocated the assessment of how that $10 million is calculated. So we don't necessarily bring in more money than that $10 million, because when this board adopts that $10 million budget, we then go, okay, here's our $10 million. Here's our total assessment. It's X dollars per 100 or X dollars per 1,000, whatever it may be. So you're not altering that $10 million. That's your budget.
Right.
You're levying $10 million. So the assessment, all you're doing is effectively, if you were to adopt this, be reallocating the values of the assessment. And anytime you make an assessment change, so when you say I'm grieving my taxes, you're not grieving your taxes, you're grieving the assessment. So that's just reallocating who pays what. So I just want to make that clear for the board as well as the public. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Mhm.
I was under the impression it's all 5 years. Okay? We graduated down 5 years.
That's what IDA
5
does.
years, that was it.
It's 10.
Is there any way to adjust that to that time? Or is it not possible?
I don't know if we have any control over it.
I would have to do some additional research.
There needs to
There's no
be
point when we get the money.
there needs to be additional research done on that, and maybe that's something that we can revisit. Like the attorney said, this thing can be we can re-opt into it if we would like to. So again, though, this is an old law that has been unused and I think is unnecessary, and I believe the rest of the board agrees is unnecessary when there are so many other incentives that companies find to take advantage of. So with that being said,
With the door being open like that too, if a company is looking here and it makes the difference between them coming or not, they could come to us and say, could you do this for us again? Which would be an option that we could do if we felt that business was reasonable and prudent to come into this community.
Fair enough.
That's my outlook on it, my thought.
Dylan,
I agree.
Yes, the IDA has the authority to install tax breaks without permission from the town.
Correct.
yes. Okay.
Where do they get their authority?
It's an independent state law governing, it's a quasi-government that's formed by state law, and they have various authorities under that with respect to development incentives. So that includes pilots and other
Or
provisions.
does every county have an IDA, or is that no?
I believe
Lots
most
of counties do, not every county does.
I'll make the motion for the opt-out.
Is there a
Second.
second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Holdridge,
Aye.
Councilmember Becker,
Aye.
Councilmember Courtney,
Aye.
Councilmember Dysinger.
Aye.
Passes 4-0-0.
Thank you.
Yeah. that's good. All right. Introductory local law codifying the comptroller's responsibilities and duties. Yes, please read it. Yes.
Whereas the town of Chester Town Board desires to set forth the duties and powers of the town of Chester Comptroller as is authorized by New York State Town Law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Chester hereby introduces introductory local law 5 of 2025, a local law to establish the powers and duties of the town comptroller. And be it further resolved that a copy of the aforesaid introductory local law be laid upon the desk of each member of the board. And be it further resolved that after comparing the thresholds of 6 NYCRR 617.4 and 617.5, the board hereby determines that the proposed action is not an action pursuant for purposes of seeker and that no further environmental review is required. Be it further resolved that a public hearing shall be held on May 28th, 2025 at 6:45 p.m. or as soon thereafter as may be heard at the Town of Chester Town Hall, 1786 Kings Highway, Chester, New York, 10918. The town clerk shall cause to be published public notice in the official newspaper as is required by law.
Is there a motion to introduce the local law and set a public hearing for May 28th?
I'll make the motion.
There's a motion and a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There will be a public hearing on May 28th. It's May 28th for the comptroller local law. All right. Resolution to authorize road closure on Kings Highway for the Community Foundation 5K race on October 4th from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. I will say before we do this that I met earlier this week with the representatives from the Community Foundation and Danny Mulvey, the Danny Mulvey cornhole event. I was able to facilitate a meeting between them. They worked everything out, so they are going to the actual race is going to start half an hour earlier at 8:30 instead of 9. So they should be done either at the very beginning or well before the setup for the Danny Mulvey event, which is supposed to start at 11 a.m. So I was happy to put that together with them, and they all, Mr. Mulvey is satisfied with the situation, and so are the Community Foundation representatives.
What you have on the resolution is 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.
That's the road closure.
Road closure.
Just the road closure.
Because they have to close the road before
Ahead
the
of
race
time, okay.
starts.
So the race itself.
The race itself starts at 8:30, but the road is closed at 8 because they have to obviously set up and get runners in position and all that.
Okay.
So with that being said, are there any other comments or questions?
No.
Seeing none, I will motion to approve the resolution. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Do I hear a motion to hire Mark Bono for the seasonal part-time Parks and Rec park attendant position to be paid at $15.50 an hour?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a
I have
second?
I have a question though, Brandon. Do we have a work schedule?
Hold on. Can you rescind your motion?
I'll
I think
rescind
he
my
should
motion.
have a second and then he can ask his question.
Well, there was no second, so it's moot. Yeah. Councilman Dysiter?
Do we have a work schedule for Mark? What days of the week is he going to work? Do you know?
He's working that out with, he already worked it out with Pat. I don't have it in front of me, but he met with him today, and they worked out the best schedule for him starting tomorrow. So
Okay.
if you want, you reach out to Pat, and you can get that from him.
Okay.
And I spoke to him today about possibly working a few hours on the weekends because that's been a need in the past. So he's going to speak to Pat about that moving forward and see how to best utilize him and his time. But he said he's available. He's
20 hours a week.
Whatever his hours are anticipated.
Part-time is up to 30.
I'm sorry.
Part-time is up to 30. After that, it's full-time.
I can't remember off the top of my head what.
You can say part-time.
Yeah, we're just gonna say part time.
Yeah, I mean, that's what
Okay.
he's supposed to be, part-time.
30 hours is at max. So, is there a resolution to hire Mark?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Larry, did you vote?
Yes,
Oh.
I said aye.
Okay, thank you. Passes. All right, fee schedule. Everybody's received the updated fee schedule that we spoke about at length last week.
There's a
Our-
discrepancy on that because
So I responded to you. So
Yeah, I
the
know.
one that you were looking at was the other one that was being discussed, but we had come and
that was one that I was given. That's the only one I have. I thought the other one, I had this one previously, and I thought there was updates to it, but I'm not sure what the updates were on the one from the committee. And the other one, I guess, that I thought was the one that was updated was actually put together by Matt.
yeah, the other one that you were looking at was from Matt, but we had decided on a semi-compromised one from the committee.
But there's still things in this that I don't like. I mean, motion and numbers are exactly the same from one to the
Yeah, there was
other.
only a few that were
The nonprofit is where the discrepancy comes in, and some of the wording on the reduced fee policy where the information when somebody comes in from a nonprofit or wants a reduced rate, that it goes before the, Sugarloaf performing, the advisory board, and the town board would be copied for it. I just don't feel like we need another layer of government for somebody to come to, somebody could just come to the board and request something rather than go through a committee.
We had agreed to that at the work session.
I wasn't happy about it then. But I wasn't looking at this document. I mean, if you want to vote on something, I would vote for what Matt put together. I won't vote on the other one tonight myself.
And I would agree with Tom.
I've been looking at two different things here, and I'm just not happy with the wording.
I just don't understand because we agreed on it at the work session. We were all in agreement on the.
But this wasn't what I was looking at the work
Right,
session.
right. We were looking at a combined document where there were multiple numbers being shown, and then we had agreed on the ones that the advisory committee had put forth.
And I guess the bottom line on this is there's two people that bring the most money to this theater. And they're the people I think that I would like to keep happy, to keep the thing afloat. And they don't seem to be happy with what they're seeing in this fee schedule either. And I have to stick with that.
Who are you speaking about?
Two people who are renting this theater out the most and bring the most money into this theater. We got Matt and we have the dance studios. They're the two people that rent this facility on a continuous basis. And there's things that they're not happy with in this write-up.
Right, but it wasn't like they're not going to be pulling out of the theater because they're possibly unhappy with some of the numbers here. I mean, they even came to mostly an agreement on every. I mean, Matt spoke about how he's in agreement with most of what was in the document, except for just a few of the numbers, and which we had the
Like I
comparison
said, most of
here.
the numbers don't make. There's not a big discrepancy in most of the numbers.
Yes, it's only the Monday.
Nonprofit, and another thing that that's not mentioned in either is our thought process. My thought process has been if the county were to come to us or our police department were to come to us and want to use this, it's not mentioned in here either.
What do you mean? What are you talking about right now?
I'm talking about the use of the pavilion or something like that by other entities such as, it's mentioned nonprofits, it's not mentioning, like I said, if the county were to come to us.
The town can grant any sort of exemption or
Again, I think any
reduction at
exemption-
any time.
Any exemption should just come to us. It shouldn't go to a committee to get an exemption. It should
Can I
be
make a-
simplified.
So I just want to before we get into this, I just want to make everything clear, and I want to stay away from the reduced fee policy right now because we're just talking about the fee schedule. The only difference that was discussed last week with between the advisory board, which we picked to do this sort of thing, and Matt, was Monday through Thursday for the main theater fee rental. The only difference was $500. Diamond Grade Media wanted a $2,000 for nonprofits. He wanted it the same across the board for them. And the advisory board had pushed for a $1,500 for Monday through Thursday, which is our dark days. That was the whole philosophical debate, was they wanted to lower the price by $500 from where Matt was, because they wanted to see if that could possibly pull in more people. And we all were up here and we all agreed that we should try it out.
Okay,
In fact,
so-
you were the one that said that we should
Okay.
try it out and see how it goes. And if we don't like it, we can
I can go with that, but
change it.
I cannot go with this reduced fee policy.
Okay, well, we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about the
But you
fee,
sent it as documents together.
right? Because they're related. But if you look at your agenda, they're two different agenda items. So we're on agenda item 12 about the fee schedule. So the only difference was that $500 from Monday through Thursday, and then the only other difference was the $100 difference for the pavilion for nonprofit and Chester residents. Matt had it at $600, and then the advisory board for Monday through Thursday only wanted it for $500. That was the only two differences in the whole document. Besides that, they had come to basically ahead on most of the other things in this document that we all discussed here last week. So,
Yeah.
Bob, did you have something you wanted to say?
Well, I let Matt go first, and then I'll throw my 2 cents in.
You know, the numbers, you know, I'm going to leave up to you guys because I think we've all explained these numbers into the end. But are you speaking about the reduced fee policy right now?
No, we're talking about the fee schedule
There's
right
the
now.
fee schedule.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this is the main fee schedule. So
Yes.
there's slight differences in the numbers between hours and there. That's a number to
It's not a big difference. Again, it's on the off hours, which again,
Yeah.
I did say I didn't have an issue with that.
I didn't have an issue.
Okay, so then let's if we're all in agreement on that, so I would like to motion. to
Hold
pass-
on. I didn't say my piece yet. As I've stated numerous times, I see numbers presented, but nothing to support the numbers. I've never seen a financial analysis to justify the numbers. I've said this a lot of times.
Yeah,
So-
and it was described to you that there just wouldn't be enough information. Everybody is in agreement that this is a shot in the dark to see how it will help. That they don't have the information available to them to basically give you the analysis that you're looking for in order to prove, like we are all very much aware that this is a shot in the dark to see if it will help the situation at the theater. They don't have the information to give you the analysis. They're hoping that with this, they can see how it will affect, and then we can do an analysis after the fact and see if we should continue to go this way or if we should change it moving forward in the future. So, I understand that in a perfect world, we would all like, a very deep dive on numbers to show exactly what we should be doing, but we just don't have that information to give to us.
But I don't understand that we've owned the PAC for 4 or 5 years now. We don't have a history of what our expenses are. And we can't project out what, the rentals are going to be. Then we ought to pack up and close it down. If we don't have that information now, we're not doing our job.
They have numbers on the expenses, but that Jeff had explained it, and the whole advisory board is in agreement that they don't understand how to. They can't prove based on what they are doing right now or what they're hoping that we will do with the fee schedule, that it will work out. They're hoping that it will work out, but they can't prove with any sort of expense numbers, what to do. They're hoping by lowering the price here for nonprofits and Chester residents, it will increase the already zero number that we have for these off days on Monday through Thursday. That's their philosophy, that they believe that it will hopefully get more people in, to get more interest in, and in the future we would raise the price back up to I believe what Matt has it at. So then we get that traffic through, and then we can raise the price in the future.
I guess something is better than nothing as far as those days go, because they're 0 days right now. But again, the concern I think Larry has is, are we losing money by opening up 15 for the 1,500.
Yeah, and
We don't know that. So
I guess-
it's, again, it's a,
I've been quiet down on this side, but you know, we're tossing around a lot of things about, are we gonna sell the theater, it's not making money. How can we even make that decision, if a true decision, if that's how some of us feel? I don't even know how you can come to a conclusion that, yep, let's get rid of it. And, you know, I know the numbers I looked at, I'm there. I mean, we have no way to repair this place, okay? We don't have an operating budget, a true budget to operate it. You know, and here we are, we're discussing a fee schedule, and, you know, and then we have the next topic. You know, we don't know what we're doing with it.
it's something, yeah, we're not.
I just don't know how we make a decision. You know, if we're not comfortable with the numbers, then we shouldn't be, you know.
Again,
That's
if
a-
we-
it's a-
if we listen to what Richards has said in the past, we can't plan on making money here. That's why the best option still is going to be the county. If we can do it.
I just want to stay on track, and I understand what you guys are saying, and I want to be respectful of that, but that's not,
So,
we need to talk about the agenda item at hand here.
Okay.
So
I think this fee schedule as it is, I'll vote for this at this point. Like I said, it's always something we could change in the future if it's not working out. Same thing I said then. So if you want, I'll make a motion to do the proposal that's dated 4/20/25.
yes. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Holdridge,
Aye.
Councilmember Becker,
Aye.
Councilmember Courtney,
Aye.
Councilmember Dysinger.
No.
Passes 3-0-1.
3-1.
3-1-0, sorry. All right. Moving on to the reduced fee policy. So, as was discussed last week, the advisory board would like us to adopt this policy, which would, it's all spelled out for everybody, but basically, anybody seeking a reduced fee would propose an event which is free and open to the public, present an explanation as to why they want the reduced fee, apply this exemption. The only way to apply this to anybody would be no more than once a month, unless the town board agreed to doing it more than once a month per vendor or showrunner, or however you want to call it. For the main stage, there is no available reduced fee. For the pavilion, it is $350. So that includes the hours and technical details to be approved by the Performing Arts Center director. And then the outdoor grounds, it would also be $350. Then they would pay the commercial, they would still need to pay the general liability insurance, commercial general liability insurance, or whatever is satisfactory to the town of Chester. The cleaning fee, $300 for the pavilion, $200 per space in the outdoor grounds. So if they're renting multiple lawns, whether that be the Great Lawn, I believe they're calling it, or the Lakeside Lawn, or however you want to call it, it'd be $200 per. The outdoor grounds, portable restrooms must be rented and placed prior to the events. So that is a stipulation to the agreement. If the Performing Arts Center is able to book any space at full price, the applicant must be willing to change their proposed date or be given an opportunity to pay full price. This applies up to 8 weeks before a chosen date. Once within the 8-week period, the applicant's choice of date will not be changed unless mutually agreed upon. And then the process for all of this is, once the request for the fee reduction is received by the Performing Arts Center director, which is Walt, or the town, which is any of us, or the clerk's office, the contact information is passed along to the Performing Arts Center Advisory Board. The advisory board will then set up an in-person or virtual meeting to review the request with the applicant. And I believe that we wanted to add in language within a 48-hour period. That was directly requested by Deputy Supervisor Becker and Councilman Dysinger. And then the town board will be copied on all applications if it happens to come to the advisory board first. The advisory board will then make a recommendation. Oh, it says within 3 business days here. We can change that to 2 if we'd like, of meeting with the applicant. the town board can either accept, amend, or reject the recommendation, just like we have always done. If the Performing Arts Center Advisory Board member requests a reduced fee, if one of them requests the reduction in the fee schedule, they must recuse themselves from the discussion and vote. So this exact language was based on everything that we had agreed to up here at the work session last week. So if there is a discrepancy, if there is something that is not agreed upon, please speak now, because I feel as though it was specifically crafted per what we all agreed on. And I know there was a disagreement with Matt about it, but as according to the conversation we had last week, we were willing to give what the advisory board had wanted us to go in their direction on.
I just think that, and honestly, I know the advisory board worked very hard. Chris is here; she's part of that board, and I know they worked hard. But I'm going to go back to when we had the meeting, and I had to digest it a little further. And I just listened to all the moving parts in that fee schedule. I'm not there right now. We don't know the status of this, what we're going to do with the theater. I think this gets tabled for now. We just run status quo. We have a fee schedule. That's what we were looking for when we embarked upon this, was a fee schedule for the theater. Until we know what direction we're going in, I don't think we start throwing all this other stuff in there. I mean, I hate to be, I'm going to be blunt here, but we struggled getting contracts filled out properly, and now we're going to give a schedule like this.
I would say that the whole point of this is because we need to run the theater as if we are always going to have the theater. We can't.
I agree.
We can't go forward, being afraid of doing anything with the theater just because we don't really know the long-term direction of it.
I think we're just trying to reinvent the wheel here. I think we have a fee schedule now. I talked about the advertising. We can do all that fancy stuff, okay? And we don't get the word out, or we don't spend any money on advertising. This is all we're just sitting here spinning our wheels.
Well, I think we're all in agreement about the advertising. I appreciate you putting out the.
I just think we got a fee schedule. Let's all discuss the advertising when we have all the stuff in, and then come back and revisit that. I don't think that's something we should do tonight. That's my opinion. I mean, I know we talked about it, but I just think there's just way too many moving parts, and then we don't have a definitive direction of what we're doing as a board with this place. So I would ask just to table it for now. I mean, and then let's get the first two things. Let's get the fee schedule in place. Let's see if we can afford to do some advertising, and let's see if that stuff works first. I don't know how that policy and those procedures are going to impact the financials of the theater.
I guess this is not. I would ask the board, if a Chester resident or business or nonprofit comes to us for a reduction in the fee schedule, this whole document was supposed to govern our response to that. So in place of this document, what is going to be our policy moving forward when somebody comes to us for a reduction or an exemption?
For me, I think you just go back to what we did. Let them come before the board, state their case, and we make the decision.
Correct.
I mean, for now. I mean, I'm not saying. I just think we got too many balls in the air trying to juggle with all of this, right? In my opinion.
I think we've kind of reached a point where this limits anyway, but I would like to go back to when the town originally bought this. They did not give exemptions. They did not give breaks. And we're doing it on a case-by-case basis for special interest or whatever. But
yeah, I listen. I think you have.
Case-by-case basis.
From my seat, I think you have to, because ultimately, we bought the building. The taxpayers are paying for it, so I think there has to be a case-by-case, case-by-case, decision made from us on it. But
it's taxpayers' money. It's not ours to give away.
You just have to be consistent in your.
No, we.
That was. Somebody wanted it. Two talking retired, town
blanket.
Right.
So you picked and choose.
Thank you, Richard. I understand.
No, we are not in public comment,
Yeah,
guys.
I just, we have to continue to move here.
Is this like the other fee producing schedule somewhere we can look at it? Where people can see
We're not in
that?
public comment.
Where it was posted to the website. It should have been posted to the website.
It was not.
It wasn't?
I didn't know which one to post, to be
Alright,
quite
well,
honest.
It doesn't matter because it doesn't look like the board is
Mhm.
voting on it anyway, but I just read it word for everybody. So otherwise, it seems like it's moot. Is there any motion to pass, or is there any motion to accept this fee policy? Reduced fee policy? Seeing none, we will table this indefinitely. Bless you.
Is there not?
Thank you.
All right, is there a motion to appoint Joe Delaney as a full-time voting member to the Parks Advisory Board? As you guys noticed, we gotten a lot of people that resigned because they wanted to start a nonprofit to be able to solicit and fundraise for our playground projects that I've been working with them on. So we had lost a couple of the voting members. Joe was appointed as a non-voting member a few months back. He's ready to step up and take a voting member position on the advisory board for the parks. I'd like to motion to appoint him.
I'll second it.
There's a second? Is there all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right, so the asset capitalization policy, everybody received this ahead of time. It outlines how to value capital assets, decide which expenditures should be capitalized as a capital asset and which expenditures should be expensed, and estimate the lifespan of capital assets. Everything was outlined for all of you in the email from Neil. Are there any comments or debate points or questions? Neil is here tonight, so he can answer something if you have something for him.
I'm good.
So the purpose of this is so we have a value on the assets that we have currently. And this will go for every asset that the town owns.
Is that for insurance
We
purposes?
we actually already have something that's
you
used.
have a whole
So
list of things from the insurance company.
if you read the financial statements, there actually is something in the financial statements. Basically, it's been put in there as sort of like a placeholder waiting for us to have a policy, right? This is just the policy of what we're already doing. So we're already doing this. This is essentially how things are organized. I think I may have made one changes to what the standard is. Other than that, it's basically what we're already doing and what's already in our financial statements. And we're now formalizing it.
You're just
into a policy.
documenting the process.
Right. So at the end of the day, what happens is in the accounting department is we're doing a lot of things that are based on sort of standard practice. And what we need to do is now create policies, right? Formalized written policies that we can carry forward. And this is one of those policies that our auditors had told us in the past that we don't have a policy for this. This is how we're doing it, but we have no policy that governs how we're actually doing it. So this is now the policy that will govern what we're already doing.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Thank
That
you
makes
for the
sense.
explanation.
Sorry about that.
No problem, thank you.
No? Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. Are there any other questions or debate points?
No.
Seeing none, is there a motion to pass the capitalization policy?
I'll make the
Motion.
Motion.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Neil, for your hard work on that. All right, we spoke about this at the work session last week. It's a proposal from a company called Deckard to basically track all the short-term rentals in Chester. Everybody received their proposals in full. It's $4,600 annually, and it seems as though it will help us rake in the revenue we were supposed to be getting from all of the short-term rentals out there, of which I think we have like 73 or more.
There's like
40.
40 that were active.
73 is across different platforms, I believe.
Yeah.
So the expectation is that we'll
It's
more than recover
redundant.
this $4,600.
Yeah, it's gonna be like $9,000.
Yep.
The only thing I would say about it is, it's just something we would have to do annually, correct? We'd have
Yes.
to vote on this, because I think this may be something that we may only do on a one-time basis.
Yeah.
And do maybe every 5 years to catch up on things that we might be missing. 'Cause
Well, I don't think you were gonna get us a number on what possibly our piece could be on that tax. I thought you said
Today.
we're waiting from the county for,
That's just for the hotel. So
that number's our piece?
No,
I didn't think so, yeah.
yeah, comparable. Comparable.
So the county currently has a hotel tax. And what I did was I went to the county and found out how much they're receiving from from Chester related to the hotel tax. We should be receiving that exact same amount because our tax will be exactly the same as the county tax. So that amount should mirror what the town should receive from the hotel tax. Okay. In addition, since we're also including Airbnbs, we would obviously receive more. The question I went back to the county with is, what properties does this relate to? Because now we have to notify those properties. We have to make sure that we're getting those taxes. So we have to identify all the properties and make sure that we're receiving the money,
So
our
that-
money, our share of the money.
That number represents what we would get, or what we would get.
So the county will still get their check,
Right.
and we're going to get a check.
So our check isn't gonna be what the county.
And our check should mirror what the county's check is. Yes.
For hotels and motels.
For the hotel
But not for
occupancy.
short
yes.
term.
Not for short term. Correct.
And this company will verify for us that these are actual Airbnb, so we don't have to go out and do the homework to figure it out. They're
Correct.
Giving us the
Right.
information.
Right.
And it's up to us to notify them that
Correct.
they are operating. We know you're operating. You owe a tax.
Right. So a lot of this falls on us to notify them so that these Airbnbs, the hotels, can then add the additional tax to their customers, right? And then know when they're supposed to send us our check.
And it'd be up to them to refute anything that this company gives us, because they're going to give us
Yes.
proof that they
Yes.
are
They-
actually operating.
Yes, they're supposed. Sorry, Liz could probably answer this better than me on.
It's two parts, because under short-term rentals, you not only have to have the permit, but then you would also be subject to the occupancy tax. So this is a tool that's would be available to your building department to ascertain, one, if a property is being operated as a short-term accommodation. And then two, is that entity properly permitted? So it's a multi-prong, multi-prong approach. If you look at a lot of the sites, they do not identify an address unless you book them.
Yeah.
Some municipalities have gone so far as to actually put aside money and start booking Airbnbs to locate addresses, because if you look, they just give a generalized location. So, and usually interior pictures.
So this will give us that information without having to
Yeah.
go through a whole.
Yeah, the other thing is making sure that they're compliant with the requirements for
Exactly.
doing it. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, Andrew will have to verify, our building inspector will have to independently verify that units are in compliance, but at least it gives him that information that this address is likely an Airbnb that warrants further investigation.
Right.
Very good.
I think it's worthwhile.
Yes. Thank you, Neil.
Right.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you, Neil.
Are there any debate points or comments on the proposal?
No.
Good.
All right, seeing none, is there a motion to accept the $4,600
Motion.
proposal from Deckard?
And I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Holdridge,
Aye.
Councilmember Becker,
Aye.
Councilmember Courtney,
Aye.
Councilmember Dysinger.
Aye.
Passes. Thank you. All right. There is a resolution here on the agenda to extend the building moratorium for an additional 3 months, as authorized by local law 1 of 2024. We obviously need more time to finish up the comprehensive plan So this has become necessary. Do you have something to read or?
I don't, so
It's
yes,
not
yeah,
necessary for this one?
hold on, I'll explain. So there are actually two agenda items tonight concerning the moratorium. The first is I'd ask for the board to adopt a resolution exercising the second 3-month extension, which by my calculations will take us to June 22 of 2025, if I can have that motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Holdridge,
Aye.
Councilmember Becker,
Aye.
Councilmember Courtney,
Aye.
Councilmember Dysinger,
Aye.
Passes.
Okay. And now that we've done that, just to give everybody a status update of where the comprehensive plan is. As you are aware, the comprehensive plan committee made a recommendation for the comprehensive plan by resolution dated December 18th, 2024. On January, I believe it was January 22nd, 2025, this board authorized myself, as well as your planner, Kristen O'Donnell from Lake and Tully, to prepare draft zoning amendments as well as the environmental review associated with that. In addition to zoning amendments, there was to be a battery storage local law and a couple of other similarly related local laws. Kristen and I have been diligently at work. We've so far had a couple of work sessions with the board seeking some clarifications. I've made some fairly significant revisions, which I've been sending to the board for internal review. We have another work session tentatively scheduled for next week to do that. It is my sincere hope that we will be introducing the local law and starting the formal environmental review process in June. Okay. And as I described earlier, that environmental review process would include one comprehensive seeker review, so that we're not doing this twice, for both the comp plan and any related local laws. Essentially, we'd be doing environmental and public hearings on a complete package. It's just the way I prefer to do it. Stylistically, it gives the public a better picture. I also am a big proponent of, and one reason it's taking a fair amount, I am a big proponent of repeal and replace. There's nothing in my mind worse than a local law that amends paragraph 2 of this page and then sentence 1 of that page. It's almost impossible to read. So we're going to be giving the public a entire zoning law so that they can read it from stem to stern without trying to have 2 documents to compare. With that said, your current moratorium is now, based on the resolution you just adopted, set to expire on June 22nd. So the board has 2 options. They can let the moratorium naturally expire. I can tell you if we introduce in June, we will not be finished through our process. That's going to take, I would anticipate, several months. So I have prepared a local law because now we're finished with what we can extend under your 2024 local law. I have prepared a new local law for a similar moratorium for 9 months, and again, 2 3-month extensions. I'm fairly confident if we can get this June, maybe July, that will be done in the 9 months.
So then we can take everything off anyway.
The moment you adopt it, the moratorium goes away. If we hustle and it happens in 6 months, the 9 months is irrelevant. But I want the board to have the time to do it
Properly.
correctly, and also for appropriate public comment to really allow folks to be involved in this.
Okay.
Do we have any comments yet from the planning board?
No, because I haven't referred it because the document's not introduced.
Okay.
I have given some couple of tidbits to their attorney, Dominic.
Okay. So until the document's ready, they're gonna have time also to review. So
I believe the draft bulk tables, which the conceptual bulk tables were forwarded, but by statute, because we don't have a local law introduced, there's no mandate for them to do it. Once I introduce
Correct.
it, there is a mandate. for them to do it.
Yeah, we just submitted to them just for initial feedback. That's all that was.
I have not received anything from them.
Thank you.
Okay. So I did prepare a resolution.
Please go ahead.
Bear with me. Whereas the town of Chester previously adopted a moratorium through the adoption of local law 1 of 2024, establishing a moratorium for a period of up to 15 months as the town of Chester prepares a comprehensive plan. And whereas said moratorium is set to expire on June 22nd, 2025. Whereas the town of Chester has appointed Lincoln Tully to prepare a comprehensive plan. And whereas the town has appointed a comprehensive plan committee to evaluate the needs of the town and develop a comprehensive plan. Whereas the comprehensive plan committee by resolution dated December 18th, 2024 recommended a draft plan to the town board. And whereas the town board by resolution dated January 22nd, 2025 acknowledged receipt of the comprehensive plan and authorized the town's consultants to prepare an expanded environmental assessment form, zoning amendments, battery storage local law consistent with the draft plan. Whereas the town board desires to conduct a single unified review of the comprehensive plan and draft code amendments and hold unified public hearings. And whereas the town wishes to avoid land use applications that would be inconsistent with the proposed comprehensive plan. Whereas the town board in consultation with its consultants has determined that it is in the best interest of the town to extend the existing moratorium on certain land use and building permit applications. Whereas a land use moratorium is a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act and no further environmental review is required. Now therefore be it resolved that introductory local law 6 of 2025, a local law to extend the moratorium on certain permits, certificates of occupancy and approvals for certain developments as set forth in local law 1 of 2024 is hereby introduced. Be it further resolved that a copy of said local law shall be laid upon the desks of each town board member, and be it further resolved that a copy of said local law be referred to the Orange County Department of Planning, the Village of Chester, the Town of Blooming Grove, the Town of Monroe, the Town of Warwick, and the Town of Goshen pursuant to General Municipal Law 239 and sequential. Be it further resolved that the public hearing shall be held on May 28, 2025 at 6:45 p.m. or soon thereafter as may be heard at the Town of Chester Town Hall, 1786 Kings Highway, Chester, New York, 10918. The town clerk shall cause to be published public notice in the official newspaper as is required by law.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions?
No.
No.
Debate points? Seeing none, is there a motion to introduce? the
Motion.
local law?
I'll second.
All those, do we have to?
It's all done.
There's a motion, a second, all the, roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Holdridge,
Aye.
Councilmember Becker,
Aye.
Councilmember Courtney,
Aye.
Councilmember Dysinger.
Aye.
Passes. Thank you. There's a education request here. Officer Byrd and Sergeant Chambers are requesting, or the chief is requesting them to be sent to the Traffic Safety and New York Bicycle Coalition on April 29th for $0. Officer Stack to the TASER instructor recertification course on June 5th for $895. Are there any comments or debate points on this?
No.
Seeing none, is there a motion to accept the training requests?
I'll make the
No.
motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Is there a motion to set a work session next week on April 30th at 2 p.m. for the purposes of a discussion on the comprehensive plan? Is there a motion?
Motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Michelle, can I have a connection to the screen? Because I'll pull up screens during that meeting.
Next week.
Thank you.
All right.
So, you know, I won't be here in a minute, but Matt will be here.
Okay.
Thank you, Matt. All right, I think I have this mistakenly on. I don't have any reason to go in executive session tonight.
Actually, can we go executive session?
What's the purpose, please?
For
Personnel.
Okay,
personnel.
I've been a specific individual.
It'll be 2 minutes.
Okay. All right, yeah, is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a
I'll
second
second
to
it.
head into executive session for personnel? There's a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I can't figure out why they're doing it. I'm not happy about it.
Yeah. Why aren't they working the same hours as highway department?
They only work 35 hours and they don't want to go to 40. I asked them.
Oh, you took back. What happened to my green? You get to keep
Well,
yours.
there's be a benefit to them. I
You
said
get to
40
keep
hours,
your-
you know,
oh,
5 days,
I
40 hours a week.
What?
You get paid more every
All right.
checked on the numbers we added.
What folder?
Yeah.
And you want it.
This is my note.
I know. I apologize.
Is there a motion to come out of executive session?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Please let it be known that, and reflected in the minutes, that the comptroller joined us in the executive session. All right, moving forward to new business. Is there a motion to amend the previous resolution to set a work session on April 30th to a special meeting on April 30th?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
At the same time,
Yes.
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 Yes. This just means that we will pick up a item of business to take action on and vote on. All right, are there any other new business at this time?
No, sir.
Just one thing, in the handbook, I'd still like to, under emergencies in the handbook, I'd like to make it so that snow days were not something that the supervisor could authorize. They would have to be done by the board in the handbook. Right now, the verbiage allows the supervisor to do that.
Are you trying to offer an amendment right now, or are you?
No, just I'm making a case for the, just starting some dialogue in relationship to that, because I did print off something in off the state thing as far as emergencies and what a supervisor can do is in case of a natural disaster, power outage, or other serious event. So it's not, as it's written in the handbook now, it says weather event.
Right.
Okay,
Inclement
well,
weather.
well,
And
we
it
have
shouldn't
a,
have that in there.
we have a, in an upcoming meeting, we will have an updated handbook from the labor attorney,
Yeah,
in
so
which
we can
case
take
we
it
will
up
have a discussion and debate on all of that. So,
Okay, very good, thank you.
are there any other new business at this time?
No.
Seeing none, public comment. I just want to offer my thoughts on Tony's wife. She has had a what's it called, a medical procedure being done. So I just want to make sure that everybody has her in their thoughts. Is there any other public comment tonight? Yes, Richard, please.
More of an unsolicited comment. When we ran the theater, as I mentioned, we did not give reduced fees. We had a set schedule. But people came through with reasons that maybe we should make a change. Now, in my business, when you publish something, it becomes the law. You have an attorney to whatever. You have a schedule of reduced fees. I don't see why you can't use that as a guide as long as it's not published. I don't know, again, whatever, but use it if somebody has some reason that they should say, we should have this, we can need the theater for reduced fee or whatever. But keep in mind, free doesn't add value. If you give it away for free all the time, it doesn't have value, and somebody else is going to want it for free. And we couldn't afford to give it free as often as
Yeah.
we'd like to have. But there's times when we would negotiate something, or they couldn't afford the full fee unless they did well. Well, if they did well, we got more than we would have gotten for the fee,
So
negotiations.
you negotiated
I-
and worked the
yeah.
deal out.
I would think about that as maybe a
Absolutely.
guide rather than doing a law. My suggestion.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Good
Richard.
suggestion, Richard.
Matt?
I'm not going to say much about the fee schedule because I think it's been discussed quite a bit. I do have issues with some of the stuff that at least I just heard in that one, and I would love to just see the fee schedule. I think it's the second time that we don't have the fee schedule that we're talking about voting on before the meeting now. And I just want to make sure that when we're talking about stuff like this, that it's at least accessible for people to read or see before, people are voting on it. So I actually have something different to talk about, which is definitely related to the exact topic of this. Did you guys see earlier today, I emailed you guys about a fee waiver for the Orange County Chamber of Commerce breakfast?
Might be
Yes.
behind my emails.
Am I able to discuss that?
Yeah, it's public comment.
Yeah, okay. So in the spirit of exactly what we're talking about here, which is having businesses rent the theater on the off times, right? Which would be during the weekdays, right? Would have zero effect on things. We had a discussion with the Orange County Chamber of Commerce because they host breakfasts once a month at different businesses. We've had a breakfast at the theater in the past. We asked for a fee waiver. It's the Orange County Chamber of Commerce asking for the fee waiver, not me. I'm just coming tonight to represent them.
The pavilion.
Well, so last time we did the main stage and the pavilion, and the town board gave a fee waiver for the entire building. In some of the research that I've been doing about the cost about things, in my opinion, I thought that I think it's more efficient to ask them just to use the pavilion. So that's what I spoke to them about. So they're going to keep the event in the pavilion and the bar room, unless it becomes so big and so many people are coming that we would then ask to use the other room. But for now, it would be just the pavilion.
Yeah, if everybody stayed in their seats and they went up on that small stage in there, that would
It should be fine.
That was kind of a waste, because I remember that last year.
And so, it's just another discussion about how it would be efficient about asking for a fee waiver. I think that because, this is a group of the local businesses who are in the Orange County Chamber, it gives us the ability to specifically talk about the reduced rates that you guys just approved. Also, I'm going to actually be speaking on a panel that day in front of the attendees about the financial benefits and economic benefits of filmmaking and theater in towns. So I definitely can hit on this topic. The other part to this is the breakfast itself has to be paid for. So I, in the past, have paid for that. So I'm offering this year again. I'll pay for the catering for the breakfast. It would be nice if the town would consider waiving the fee for the pavilion for the Orange County Chamber of Commerce. So that's it.
So the request is for May 8th. And can we go back into new business for this?
Yeah, you're gonna adjourn.
Does the board feel as though they would like to pass a fee waiver now for this? Or
What amount?
Well, let me ask you a question. They go to different locations to have these meetings?
They do.
Do other places waive the fees?
They do. And most of the other businesses also provide the breakfast. So if they're at another venue that has a catering hall, the catering hall also provides the breakfast for the 100 or so people as well. Okay. We don't have that here, so I am paying for that. But yes, the other places do donate the building.
Okay.
Are there any comments or debate points on that?
What would the reduction be? Half of what?
I think they're asking for a fee waiver.
That means
Which
in
will-
full.
completely.
So also, if I could just give you more information, it's from 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. and they're done.
What day? On Thursday?
Thursday, May 8th.
Does Walter have anything going on in there?
No, we held the time, so it's booked. The event is booked.
How tight are we on filming?
The film.
On the film should be out of there by then.
Yeah, that's.
I'm just,
So this was a scheduled event, whether or not you guys give it a fee waiver, it was put into the schedule and,
Where's that leave us with cleaning and stuff, though?
Are they willing to pay the cleaning fee?
I'm assuming they'd be willing to pay the cleaning fee if it was waived. And if
All
they
right.
won't, I'll cover the cleaning.
Is there a motion to accept the fee waiver on the contingency of them paying the cleaning fee and providing the insurance?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And also, I was told to invite all of you to the breakfast because it's a good place to represent anything that you guys are working on or talk about. The local business community is
I
there.
think it's positive for the community. That's why it's something.
Yep. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
No
Matt.
problem, Matt.
Is there any public comment or new business tonight?
Michelle?
Michelle?
I have, from Connie Roach, can Jewish Family Services assist with delivering Meals on Wheels? And also, this is from Lydia and Connie, they have trouble hearing people when they're speaking, so please speak into the microphone. And the audience, when they speak, they would please step up to the podium.
Yes, we need to be better at making sure people step up. I apologize. And yes, I believe they can deliver Meals on Wheels, but I would reach out to them specifically about that.
Because they do
So-
have limited volunteers.
Yeah. So find the information on the website and reach out. They should be able to answer that question better than we can. Any other comment? All right. With that being said, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the-
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.